Hey, welcome back, everybody. So, uh, it's really tough to figure out what's considered middle class income, especially when you're talking about retirees. I did a lot of digging to figure this out because it seems that everybody wants to talk about real life income with people that are still working, but I wanted to see what's considered middle class income for a retiree. There's a lot of numbers out there. So, one of the things I want to talk about first is understanding the difference between mean and median. Mean is when you add all the values together and then divide those values by the amount of numbers. So if you add 10 items together, then divide by 10, you come up with the mean. If you median is when you take all the numbers and just say, this is the middle of the pack. It's not so much an average. It's just what's good about using median is that it's not skewed by high numbers, right? So if you have 100 people and 50 of them make 100,000 and the other 50 make somewhere between 40 and 60, your numbers are going to be severely skewed when you take all of them together and come up with the mean because you got so many people in the higher income bracket. When you consider median, you say, okay, so I've got 100 people. My group is between 50 and 100, so median would be 75. And that way nobody gets skewed by the numbers. So here's some of the information I found out about what is considered middle income for retirees, middle class. So low end or low income is anybody that makes less than 30,000. Now, I can tell you that if you are going to use just Social Security, you are going to be under 30,000 if that's your only income, because right now the average payout for Social Security is $1,907. That works out to be $22,884 total. Okay. Now, that's for a single. For couples, they consider 3,300 to be the average. So that's still going to get you to 40K for just the two of you, which is not a lot of income when you're talking about trying to provide for yourself, pay all of your expenses and health care, etc. Now, middle income is somewhere between 30 and 70 is the range. So then the median would be 50,000, 50,200, and anywhere in that range is considered middle class, but the real true median middle class would be 50,000. And then high earners are going to be anybody that makes over 70. And that makes a lot of sense, right? So, especially if you're retired, I wouldn't expect a lot of people, even as couples, make 70,000 unless they're drawing a lot from other sources besides obviously Social Security. But when you put all those numbers together, if you're at 70,000 or above, you're considered a high earner for a retired person. And the amount that you make as an average goes down by age group. So I'll give you the example. 65 to 69, their median number is 57,000. But the group 70 to 74, their median number is 50. And then when you go above 75, the median gets down to 37,000. Now, I would assume as you get older, you're going to need less income because you're going to be less active. You're going to be doing less things. You're going to eat less. Just in general, your income needs go down. However, uh, we have to consider all those numbers when you're talking about what does a middle class income look like for a retiree, and can I afford to live on it? And that's really what I always emphasize on this channel is that you need to know what your number is, figure out what your uh, lifestyle number is going to be, as in how much do you need a month to live and pay all your bills and be covered, and take that number and figure out what are my sources of income to get me to it. Example, if I want 5,000 a month, my sources are this: 1,900 for Social Security, and if I don't have a pension, then I'm going to have to take the rest as a withdrawal from my assets. If you're a married person, if your combined income is 3,300 from Social Security and your bills are still 5,000, then you have to take less from your assets to maintain that lifestyle of 5,000 a month. And $5,000 a month is really, especially if it's before tax, is only 60,000 a year. That's really not, it would put you well into the middle class income, but you're definitely not a high earner at that number. But that doesn't mean you can't adjust so that you can be a high earner. If you have $1 million in the bank, that money's going to go a long way if you're only trying to live off 5 and you're getting 3,300 from your Social Security. So you definitely need to look at how you're going to compile your income source, how much you really need to have in that as a monthly number, and then calculate based on those real numbers. But nobody can really do that for you. Go to a financial planner, obviously, which is what I always recommend, is go to somebody that knows what they're talking about. I'm just spitting numbers that I can find anywhere. Any of you can find as well. But what you need to know is, how long will my money last? This is how much I need to live on. Do I need to adjust my budget accordingly, or can I adjust my asset contribution more or less accordingly? And that's how you come up with your numbers. That's how you devise a retirement budget that you can maintain forever. Because if you maintain it now while you're spending more because you're more active, because you're younger, then it'll last you longer when you're done, as you get to the upper end of those years. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you have some ideas or thoughts on this. I appreciate the likes, and we'll see you soon.